For hours, confusion flooded the media space. Headlines were screaming, rebels advancing, government under pressure, Mali on the brink. Western media outlets painted a picture of a collapsing state, a junta losing control, a nation falling apart. But on the ground in Mali, a completely different story was unfolding because, according to Malian military sources, what happened was not a successful rebellion. It was an attempted foreign-backed destabilization operation, and Mali says it crushed it. This is the story of how a nation already at war with terrorism says it survived another deadly night. Northern Mali has long been one of the most volatile regions in Africa. For over a decade, the country has battled armed insurgencies, separatist movements, and extremist organizations linked to Al-Qaeda and ISIS. But this latest confrontation felt different. According to reports from the Malian armed forces, heavily armed fighters launched coordinated attacks across strategic zones. Military positions were targeted. Supply routes were threatened. Explosions echoed across the desert. The attackers were quickly labeled by some international outlets as rebels who were gaining momentum. But Bamako rejected that narrative immediately. Mali's military government claimed the operation bore signs of foreign coordination, foreign logistics, and foreign interest. To the junta leadership, this was not merely another insurgent raid. It was an assault on Malian sovereignty itself.
We will take up our arms and resist if we have to. We will even fight with sticks.
To understand why accusations quickly pointed toward foreign interference, you must understand Mali's broken relationship with France. For years, French troops operated inside Mali under the banner of counterterrorism. Operation Sahel, Operation Kann. Paris claimed it was fighting extremists. But many Malians began asking dangerous questions. If foreign troops are here, why is insecurity getting worse? Villages kept falling. Terror attacks continued. Entire communities were displaced. Then the anger exploded. Mass protests erupted across Mali. French flags were burnt. Crowds demanded one thing: France must leave. And eventually, France left. But the departure did not end the hostility. The new military-led government accused external powers of trying to punish Mali for choosing an independent path, especially after Mali strengthened ties with Russia and the African core. So, to Bamako, the geopolitical war had only begun. Then came the response. The Malian army says it launched rapid counteroffensives against the armed groups. Airstrikes reportedly targeted moving convoys in desert corridors. Ground troops advanced into contested areas. Military communiques claimed several enemy positions were destroyed. Weapon caches were allegedly seized, and according to pro-government sources, the attackers suffered devastating losses. State-aligned commentators celebrated what they described as a crushing military victory. But here is where the information war begins, because while Malian sources spoke of victory, many foreign reports focused instead on instability and uncertainty. Two narratives emerged simultaneously. One said Mali was collapsing. The other said Mali just defended itself from a coordinated foreign-backed assault. And in modern warfare, controlling the narrative is almost as important as controlling the territory. Wars today are not fought only with bullets. They are fought with headlines, algorithms, media framing. A single phrase can shape a global perception. Rebels advancing sounds very different from foreign-backed militants repelled. Critics of Western media accuse major outlets of repeatedly portraying African military governments as illegitimate, while softening scrutiny on foreign influence. Supporters of Western reportage argue that military juntas themselves often control information tightly and suppress dissent. So, the question here is, who tells the truth? In conflicts like this, truth becomes a battlefield. But one thing is undeniable. Mali is becoming the center of a larger geopolitical struggle. A struggle involving Africa, Europe, Russia, and of course the future balance of power in the Sahel. Mali is not alone. Across the Sahel, governments are shifting dramatically. Niger expelled French forces. Burkina Faso embraced military rule. Anti-Western sentiment is rising across parts of West Africa. Many citizens say decades of foreign involvement failed to bring security. Others fear military governments are replacing democracy with nationalism and force. But regardless of political position, one reality cannot be ignored. The Sahel is becoming one of the world's most dangerous conflict zones. Extremist groups continue expanding. Communities remain trapped between violence and poverty. Foreign powers compete for influence, and ordinary Africans are paying the price. Every convoy ambushed, every village burnt, every displaced child becomes a part of a much bigger battle over who controls Africa's future. Across social media, many Africans are rallying behind Mali, not necessarily because they support military rule, but because they believe African nations should control their own destiny. A growing number of citizens across the continent are questioning old alliances. They are questioning dependency. They are questioning why resource-rich nations remain trapped in endless instability. For supporters of Mali's current government, this latest battle symbolizes resistance. Resistance against external pressure, resistance against manipulation, resistance against what they see as modern neo-colonial influence. But critics warn that nationalism alone cannot solve terrorism. It cannot solve poverty or political repression.
La base militaire de
The future of Mali remains uncertain. Yet, one thing is clear.
Une base qui abrite des soldats des Nations
The country
Unies et des
refuses
Français
to
de
surrender
l'opération Pascal.
quietly.
Dans cette séquence, on aperçoit des hommes déguisés en casque bleu des Nations Unies. Le tube qui les accompagne est lui aussi modifié pour y ressembler, avec de la
In
peinture
the
blanche
deserts of
et le
Mali,
sigle
the
des Nations
guns
Unies.
may temporarily fall silent.
Il y a aussi 7 hommes
But the larger
cagoulés,
war is far from over.
visiblement déguisés en soldats
A war
français.
over truth, over influence, over sovereignty, over Africa's future. Did Mali crush a foreign-backed invasion? Or in the reality more complicated that both sides admit? History will judge. But for now, Mali stands defiant and the Sahel remains on fire. What do you think? Was Mali defending its sovereignty? Or are global powers using Africa as a geopolitical chessboard once again? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe to Kann Media Group for more hard-hitting Africa documentaries the mainstream media will tell you.